Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between to the Movie Squib channel. I'm your host, Charlie, and today I just have a quick video for you, and that is, I am not going to see the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny movie in the theater. Let me just preface by saying a few things. Number one, I'm not a negative person when it comes to new movies. I actually do believe there's plenty of good movies out there. You actually just have to look for those movies. And I do believe that there's big budget movies that are very well made. Have you seen Top Gun Maverick? Fantastic movie. I don't want to get into a rant because the reality is everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But in a world where everyone is negative, I am not like that. And I am especially not like that with movies. I like to give them a chance. I like to give hope that the movie is going to be good and that there's going to be something worthwhile about that film. But sadly, when it comes to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, from what I've already read, from what I've seen from the critic reviews, there's no way that this movie is going to pull it off. Now, let me say this about critic reviews. Most of the time, you should take their reviews with a grain of salt. And it really depends on the movie. There are some movies where the audiences and the critics are going to generally agree. I can see a movie like Oppenheimer having the same score from the critics and from audiences alike. But then you have movies like Fast X, where it's going to have a lower critic score and a higher audience score because that's really a popcorn junk film, and critics are there to review the film and base their review on the merits of the film, like the screenwriting, the cinematography, the acting, whereas us as an audience, we don't necessarily look for that all the time. Most of the time we do, but sometimes we just want a junk movie or we just want a popcorn action flick, a summer blockbuster, and we don't really care that the CGI is awful or we don't care that the script has a ton of holes in it. We're just entertained by it. But I feel that Indiana Jones is a different movie, and I feel that you should listen to what the critics are saying. Because in my opinion, I think that the critic reviews are actually going to be higher than the audience score. I think that the expectation from the audience is going to be much more than what the critics have already expected. And I truly believe, now this is all just speculation and hearsay on my part, this is just my personal opinion, but I believe that most professional critics love and enjoy the Indiana Jones franchise. So when they see a bad Indiana Jones movie, they call it out for what it is. So I believe the critics when they say that this is a boring, middling movie and it's just not that good. There's one critic that said it's going to make you miss the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and there is nothing that can make me want to miss that movie. So that alone makes me very scared. I truly believe that every opinion like this should be on a case-by-case basis. Would I trust critics for horror movies? Not really. A lot of times I'm looking for something different than what most critics are looking for in horror movies, and action movies are the same way. As I've said before, critic scores of the Fast and the Furious franchise are always going to be lower because they're reviewing it differently than what the audience is reviewing that type of movie. The audience, when they're going to see that movie, they know what they're going to see. And that is the same thing with the Indiana Jones movie. We expect a level of quality. We expect a certain level of fan service. We expect the lore to be respected. We expect top-notch acting. We expect a good script. And from what I've read from the critics, none of this is going to happen in this film. Now, as I've said, I'm normally a positive person. Even movies where critics give bad reviews, I sometimes say you should just go watch it anyway and form your own opinion. But I think a movie like Indiana Jones, I don't think you should go see this movie. First of all, I don't want you giving any money to Disney or any other people that are involved with this film. If this is a horrible film, they should suffer. And the best way that they are going to suffer is if you do not go watch this movie at all. People go and see these movies sometimes and they hate watch these movies. Do you think that the producers and Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and whoever else is involved in these films, do you think that they care that you're watching it to hate watch it, that you're watching it so you can bash it later? They got your money. They got your money, and that's all they care about. And this is one of the most expensive movies ever made from Disney and from this franchise. And I tell you what, if no one goes to see it and they suffer huge losses, they won't do it again. They will have hopefully learned their lesson. Look, I had some hopes for this film. I actually think that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a great actress. I've watched Fleabag. I've watched both season 1 and season 2 of Fleabag. So I'm not hating on this film because of her. I actually think she's a great actress. But what it sounds like from the critics is that she is not a good fit for this film. And you know what? There's films that Harrison Ford has been in that he is not a good fit for. Does anybody remember Ender's Game? I sure wish I didn't. I really am disappointed that this film is not going to meet my expectations, but I have learned to let go of these childish feelings where you tell yourself, oh, my childhood is ruined and they completely destroyed everything about Indiana Jones. Don't think like that. Separate the art from yourself. Cut the umbilical cord. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. I actually love Temple of Doom. And I adore The Last Crusade. It's my favorite of the 3. And you know what? The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and The Dial of Destiny is not going to ruin that for me. I can separate those 2 movies from the other 3. You know why? Because that's just art and entertainment. You just ignore it. You leave it be. And you leave the memories that you have of those 3 great films intact. Don't worry about those other 2. Don't get mad about that. Move on. There are other things in your life that you should be worried about, and you shouldn't give an ounce of thought to a bad film, especially a bad Indiana Jones film. Let it go. The movie's bad, it's bad. I will say this as a caveat. When this film comes out and the audience reviews come in, if the audience reviews are phenomenal, I'll go watch the film. I don't mind admitting when I am wrong, but it seems like the writing is on the wall with this film. There's plenty of other franchises that you can love, and besides that, you should never let a bad film from the present ruin your good memories of prior films. And I'm not gonna. I'm still gonna love the original 3 Indiana Jones films. I'm not going to hate on them. And again, if this film turns around and the critics are completely wrong and the audience absolutely loves this film, I'll go watch it and I'll say that I was wrong because I don't care. I don't need to be right about this stuff. It's just an opinion. If you want to go watch the film and you want to see for yourself, then go watch it. But what I'm saying is don't go hate watch this film. Don't go hate watch this movie. Don't give your money to Disney. Don't do that. Because if they make their money back, they will not have learned their lesson. And you know what? There's big content creators out there that are going to watch this film, and that's fine. When you've got an audience of 100,000 or 500,000 or 1 million subscribers, yeah, they should go see it because they can inform all of their subscribers, hey, this movie is awful. Don't spend your money on it. But small content creators like us, I've got 120 something subs. No. I will not spend a dime of my money on this film. Anyway, thank you for listening to my rant. Have hope. There are plenty of good movies out there. Don't feel discouraged by Indiana Jones. Just move on. Treat it as what it is. A movie that did not go over well, or most likely is not going to go over well, and just move on from it. There's plenty of other movies coming out this year. There's plenty of movies that have come out this year that are great, and maybe you haven't watched them yet. Watch those films instead. Don't waste your money on the Indiana Jones film, unless I'm completely wrong and the audience tells you otherwise. Thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, hit that notification because I've got a ton more content. I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good evening.